Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today, normally this is Friday, right? Normally we have Srila Prabhupada Nectar Day, but today happens to be the appearance day of one of our previous acharyas, Narottama Thakura, who wrote a lot of the songs that we sing too. So we will read about Narottama Thakura today. I don't think we'll have time to finish the chapter. It's kind of many pages here, but we'll go as far as we can. Narottama Das Thakur was the embodiment of Gaudiya teachings. He conveyed love of God through his memorable poetry and lived that long in the same poetic way. He was the perfect devotee, the archetypal messenger of the divine, whose characteristics the six Goswamis described every time their quill touched the palm leaf. More than Srinivas or Shamananda, Narottama Das is remembered as the superlative Gaudiya, perhaps because the ultimate philosophical conceptions of Gaudiya Vaishnavism are reflected in every one of his songs. Consequently, Narottama's achievements have been fully recognized by historians and surveyors of the Gaudiya tradition. It is not possible to accurately describe Narottama's merit, but noted Bengali historian Ramakanta Chakravarti has nicely summarized his major accomplishments in his classic work on Bengali culture. The importance of Narottama Datta in the history of the post-Chaitanya Vaishnava movement in Bengal can hardly be overestimated. He worked in unison with Srinivasacharya for the establishment of the Vrindavan doctrine in Bengal. He was one of the principal organizers of the Kaituri festival, in which the Vrindavan viewpoint finally dominated over the other views. Narottama Datta and his disciples boldly flouted caste. Narottam was an eminent Shudra guru of many Brahmins. He and his disciples spread Vaishnavism in Murshidabad and Rajshahi. Narottam was also the author of several works in which his spiritual ideals were clearly stated. So great was his authority that even the deviant Sahajas found it expedient to write some of their sectarian works in his name. Two important events connected with Narottama Das Thakur precipitate his advent. The first is the appearance of Lokanath Goswami in this world, and the second is the prediction by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu of Narottama's birth. A survey of Narottama's life would be incomplete without a thorough analysis of these two episodes. So here's a section on Lokanath Swami, because it's related to Narottama Das Thakur. Lokanath Goswami was the son of Padmanabha Chakravarti and Sita Devi, and was born in a small village known as Talakadi in East Bengal's Jessore district. According to some sources, he was Mahaprabhu's schoolmate in Navadvip. When Lokanath was very young, perhaps in his teenage years, Mahaprabhu sent him to Vrindavan along with Bhugarbha Goswami to rediscover the lost pilgrimage sites of Krishna's pastimes. This was an important project. Due to the passage of time and the invasion of foreign powers, many shrines in Vrindavan area had been obscured. Mahaprabhu's desire to reclaim these lost sites did not begin when he sent when he sent Rupa and Sanatan to that most sacred holy place. because he had sent Lokanath much earlier. Mahaprabhu sent him with Bhugarva because in his omniscience, Mahaprabhu knew that Lokanath and Bhugarva were the best of friends, both in this life and in Krishna's eternal Leela. So these are eternal associates that we're talking about here. Moreover, their identity in Krishna Leela enabled them to recognize the exact location of many of the lost places of pilgrimage. According to Gaura Ganadesh Deepika, Lokanath and Bhugarva were in their previous births Leela Manjari and Prema Manjari, respectively. And sometimes it is said that they were Manjalali Manjari and Nandi Mukhi. It is said that they arrived in Vrindavan in 1509 or thereabouts and remained there for the rest of their lives. Lokanath Goswami's major accomplishments in Vrindavan include constructing the Gokulananda Temple, today one of the 7 principal temples in Vrindavan, establishing his deity of Radha Vinod, and eventually initiating Narottama Thakura. Actually, when Mahaprabhu sent Lokanath to Vrindavan, he warned him that the day would come when Narottama would arrive, and at that time Lokanath was to initiate Narottama into the Gaudiya tradition. This was the will of Sri Chaitanya. Next section, called Searching for Mahaprabhu. Despite the legend that Lokanath never left Vrindavan, there is one well-documented instance in which he ventured out in search of Mahaprabhu. It was about a year or so after he first arrived. Having heard that Mahaprabhu had taken sannyas, Lokanath became overwhelmed by the confusion, by the same confusion that had engulfed Srinivasa's father, Chaitanya Das, and he immediately left to see Mahaprabhu in his newly adopted order of renunciation. Leaving for Puri, he traveled the long, arduous trails through the Jharikanda forest. After many weeks, he finally arrived, only to find that Mahaprabhu had departed for South India. Lokanath then started south, and for many months he tried to retrace the Lord's steps. After some time, he heard that Mahaprabhu had returned to Puri. Following his master, Lokanath also dispatched for Puri, and this time he thought he would definitely meet Sri Chaitanya. On his way to Puri, however, he heard that Mahaprabhu was now in Vrindavan. In this way, Lokanath returned to Vrindavan, but when he arrived, he was told that Mahaprabhu had just left, going through Prayag and Benares on his way back to Puri. Lokanath was relentless, but Mahaprabhu appeared to him in a dream and told him that he should not waste his time. He should stay in Vrindavan, said Mahaprabhu, for it would torment him to see his Lord in the severe persona of a renunciate. Feeling compassion for his devoted Lokanath, Mahaprabhu asked him to take solace in the memory of their inner relationship and to meditate on him in his pure sannyasi, pre-sannyasi days in Navadvip. Soon after this dream, Lokanath Goswami became even more determined to begin the work of reclaiming the holy places. This he did, but little was accomplished until the arrival of Rupa and Sanatan. In retrospect, it seems that his main role in Vrindavan was as a senior Vaishnava, giving guidance to younger devotees. Moreover, Lokanath Goswami prepared for the arrival of Narottama Das Thakur, who would eventually accept him as guru. So we're reading about this is today's the appearance day of Narottama Das Thakura. So next section, O Narottam, this is called. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to go from Puri to Vrindavan, he stopped in the village of Ramakeli to see Rupa and Sanatan. At that time, Mahaprabhu looked into the deep blue waters of the Padma River facing Keturi village in East Bengal and began to feverishly shout, O Narottam, O Narottam. This was no surprise to Nityananda Prabhu, the Lord's constant associate. Mahaprabhu had on several occasions already exclaimed his name in the midst of exuberant kirtan. From this, the intimate devotees knew that a great personality would soon take birth, for Narottam literally means the topmost person. On this occasion, however, Mahaprabhu was howling the name of Narottam with an overwhelming sense of joy. Tears flowed from his eyes with uncontrollable force as he ran back and forth like a madman. Nityananda Prabhu was concerned about Mahaprabhu's well-being. He had never seen his master reach this level of irrepressibility. Nor had he ever seen him shed tears of love with such vehemence, nearly forcing himself to lose consciousness. Mahaprabhu revealed the reason for his heightened ecstasy. Nityananda, across the Padma in Keturi Gram, Narottam will soon take birth. This will occur in our lifetime. Kirtan is my life and soul, and Narottam will sustain it. There in Keturi, Garhata, he will absorb my kirtan rasa with all of my love. I grow anxious for this to occur. For now, I will deposit my intense love in the Padma, and when Narottam comes and bathes here, the Padma will extend my love to him. Padma must be a river. Yeah. The next morning, Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and the assembled devotees engaged in an ecstatic kirtan. Nityananda forewarned all of the devotees that Mahaprabhu would be placing his love in the Padma, and that this love would one day be seized by an important devotee named Narottam. After the kirtan, the devotees went to bathe, and when Mahaprabhu entered the Padma, all the waters began to overflow, unable to contain the divine prema that Mahaprabhu had stored there. Yeah, the river actually overflowed because of the Krishna prema in it. At that time, the personified Padma is said to have appeared to Mahaprabhu and the devotees. She asked the Lord, I understand that you want me to deliver this love to Narottam, but how will I know when he comes? How will I be able to identify him? Mahaprabhu answered, when someone enters your water and causes you to overflow, as I have just done, and when a person comes whose presence makes you greatly jubilant, that is Narottam. The Padmavati smiled, offered her obeisances, and returned to her watery form. Nityananda Prabhu was taken by the beauty of the scene near Padma River and expressed to Mahaprabhu that he would like to stay there. Mahaprabhu told him that he would one day return, for it was his duty to bring Narottam at the appropriate time to the Padma. Nityananda Prabhu is the personification of Guru Tattva, and so he would naturally guide Narottam to the river where the divine treasure of love of God was waiting. Next section, birth and childhood. In or around the year of Mahaprabhu's disappearance, 1534, on a full moon day in the month of Magh, January and February, Narottama Das appeared in this world. As Mahaprabhu had predicted, he was born in Keturi, Garir Hatha subdivision, which is about 72 miles northwest of present Rangpur, Vojalijar, in the Rajashree district of East Bengal, now Bangladesh. His father was a great king named Krishnananda Datta, and his mother's name was Narayani Devi. They were fabulously rich and were kayastas by caste. They raised their son as an honored prince. During the traditional Annaprashanam ceremony for the newly born Narottama, when a baby is supposed to eat his first grains, Narottama's parents were taken aback. It seems that Narottama would not eat, turning his head away from the food in disgust. However, shortly thereafter, when a devout Vaishnava came with similar food that had been offered to Krishna, Narottama ate heartily. He wouldn't eat bhoga. All who were present could understand that the only reason he had initially rejected the grains was because the grains were unoffered. This spoke highly of the baby's devotional demeanor. His parents rejoiced. As Narottama advanced in years, he became an exemplary student, mastering all academic subjects and religious books as well. His favorite activity, though, was to sit at the feet of an elderly Brahmin named Sri Krishnadas, who would daily recite the early, middle, and final pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Narottama relished these stories throughout his youth and resolved to devote his life to the eternal principles of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Next section, Prema Tali Ghat. One day, soon after Narottama became a teenager, Nityananda Prabhu appeared to him in a dream, saying, "Tomorrow, as the sun begins to rise, you should take your bath in the Padma River. At that time, you shall receive the totality of Gaur Prem, or love of God." When the Narottama awoke, he immediately complied with Nityananda Prabhu's instruction. Entering the Padma, Narottama felt himself undergo a vital transformation. Just then, Mahaprabhu appeared before his eyes and affectionately embraced him. As their bodies merged, he felt Mahaprabhu's very essence engulf his soul. It is said that at that moment, Narottama's natural dark complexion turned to molten gold. Mahaprabhu's own distinct hue. Today, pilgrims visit Prema Tali Ghat in Bangladesh, where this historic event transpired. So his skin color actually changed. Next section, his parents lament. When Narottama did not return home after some time, his parents sent a search party after him. They found him dancing furiously on the banks of the Padma. Who is this madman? Certainly it was not the same Naru. When they brought him home, his parents did not recognize him. Not only was there a change in the color of his skin, but he now brawled like a love-sick adolescent. Bald, not brawled, bald. Right. Like a love-sick adolescent. This was not some ordinary crying, but the tears of a lover of God. Narottama's parents sensed that it was something to this effect. His mother confronted him directly. "My dear Naru, what has happened to you? Why do you weep in this pathetic way? How can I help you?" Narottama replied, "Dear mother, this morning when I went to bathe in the Padma, a golden-colored divinity, the Supreme Lord, entered into my heart. It is he who is causing these tears. I am feeling his ardent love, and I'm separated from him. If you want to relieve my distress, allow me to leave home and go in search for his lotus feet." Then, having expressed his inner heart, Narottama went to the palace kirtan hall and started chanting the Lord's names with great ecstasy. "All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord of my life." After singing for many hours, he fainted. Many hours. King Krishnananda, Narottama Dasa's father, feared that his Naru would run away to adopt the life of renunciation. For a king, this would be a terrible fate. His only son, the heir to the throne, leaving as though all his riches were worthless. Krishnananda also had plans for Narottama's marriage. A renounced life was not what he had in mind for his young Naru. In pursuance of his plans, Raj Krishnananda had his best guards watch Narottama from morning until the evening. Ironically, out of love, he made Narottama a prisoner in his own home. Still, Narottama's singular activity, day and night, was reciting the names of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha and Krishna. After some time, Krishnananda became desperate and called a spirit tamer to save his possessed child. The spirit tamer said that the boy was suffering from a common wind disorder and that his body should be rubbed with oil and that a fox should be brought in for the boy to eat. Narottama laughed at this silliness and explained that the killing of animals is forbidden and would in fact only worsen his condition. Narottama's father relented, but this was the sort of embarrassment that young Narottama had to tolerate. Day and night, Narottama would pray, "Please, my Lord, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, liberate me from this insane life of family attachment and allow me to serve you in the association of advanced Vaishnavas." The single-minded determination grew so intense that it kept him from sleeping. His mind and heart were completely absorbed in the Lord's pastimes and mission. It's a great personality. Go to Vrindavan, next section. One night, Narottama managed to fall asleep, and Mahaprabhu appeared to him in a dream. After tightly embracing Narottama, as he had done that fateful morning in the Padma River, the Lord said, "O Narottama, as you are anxious to be with me, I too have become overwhelmed by your intense devotion, and I am anxious to be with you. For now, though I want you to go to Vrindavan, and there you should take initiation from my dear associate, Lokanath Goswami." When Narottama awakened, he was gripped by the love and separation more thoroughly than before. Night after night, he would try to sleep, but the Lord would allow him to actually rest only sporadically, very few nights. When Narottama did sleep, the Lord and his associates would show him special mercy during his dreams by allowing him to enter into the spiritual world and the divine Leela in which he plays a crucial role. So he's already coming as an eternally liberated soul. Narottama escapes. Some months elapsed, and Narottama's reputation as a divinely inspired youth spread to all corners of Bengal. When he was 16, the Jai Girdhar, an influential Muslim governor in the district, requested his presence, wanting to be blessed by the young Narottama. Krishnananda could not refuse a political leader of the Girdhar's stature, but he was skeptical. If he gave Narottama the slightest chance, he knew the enthusiast would run off to Vrindavan. Still, Krishnananda felt as if he had no choice. Upon reaching the court of Jai Girdhar, Narottama found an opportunity to escape. It was now or never. Moving stealthily and furtively past the guards, he managed to run to the forest, determined to find his way to the holy land of Vrindavan. Although Navadvip was comparatively near, he went in the direction of Braja, not only because Mahaprabhu had ordered him to do so, but because nearby Navadvip would be the first place that the guards, if sent after him, would look. Going to Vrindavan entailed a lengthy sojourn across much of India on foot. Being the son of a king, his delicate and pampered body could barely endure the hardship of such a journey, and he began to experience fatigue and hunger. After 3 days, his soft feet began to blister, and at one point, due to exhaustion, he lost consciousness. When Narottama was in the exhausted state, Mahaprabhu appeared to him in the form of a golden-skinned Brahmin and supplied a pot of milk for him to drink. Not recognizing the Brahmin as Sri Chaitanya himself, Narottama merely fell asleep, submitting once again to exhaustion. As he slept, Rupa and Sanatan encouraged him in a dream. Narottama, soon your suffering will end. Mahaprabhu has appeared to you and has brought milk for your nourishment. Drink deep and proceed to Vrindavan. With the words of Rupa and Sanatan still resounding in his heart, he awakened and began to weep joyously. In the eternal Leela of Krishna, distributing milk to Sri Radha and the intimate gopis is one of Narottama's services as a manjari. But now Krishna, in the form of Mahaprabhu, was reciprocating by serving milk to his pure devotee. Contemplating the implications of this loving exchange was all the nourishment that Narottama required, and with renewed vigor, he soon continued his journey to Braja. Next section, the fire of devotion. Before leaving the area in which he had been given milk of Sri Chaitanya, he was discovered by the family guards. Apparently, Krishnananda had sent many men to scout for Narottama and bring him back. One particular party of competent employees actually found the young runaway. When they questioned him about his resolve, he simply said that he was being faithful like a good wife. When the husband dies, it is our custom that the faithful wife may follow him into the fire, sati, and burn with his body on the funeral pyre. Narottama said, so I too am going into the fire of dedication to God. To extend this analogy, Narottama continued, When a woman wants to show devotion to her husband in this extreme way, it is natural that well-wishers will try to stop her. They will not allow her to enter the fire. So I understand that you do not want me to enter the fire of God consciousness, Narottama concluded, but you should also understand that I would be less than a faithful servant of my Lord if I did not attempt to enter that fire. Narottama's simple and poetic analogy so moved the guards that they let him go on his way. One guard even gave him some money for his expenses. This was a common example of Narottama's spiritual potency and divinity, bewitching personality. Jai Shri Shri Gauranitai, Shri Shri Radha Vijayvihari, Jagannath, Balaram, Lady Subhadra, Lord Nishigade, Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Next section. Entering Vrindavan. After this incident, he approached Mathura near Lord Krishna's birthplace and bathed in the Yamuna at Vishram Ghat. That night he met an elderly Brahmin who invited him to stay at his home. This Brahmin informed Narottama Das that Sanatan, Rupa, Bhagavanath Bhatta, Kashishwara Pandit, and others had recently departed from this world to join Mahaprabhu's Leela in the kingdom of God. As the Brahmana spoke, Narottama Das began to cry. He traveled many miles and had hoped to personally meet all of these exalted personalities. Contemplating the untimely demise of the teachers he had idolized, he fainted. The biographies concur, however, that at that time all of the exalted souls whom Narottama wanted to see appeared to him in a spiritual vision. In fact, the fortunate Brahmin at the house of Narottama, at whose house Narottama was staying, was able to hear much of the discussion that Narottama had with these departed souls. Rupa and Sanatan especially consoled Narottama, encouraging him to seek out Jiva Goswami to study Gaudiya philosophy. When Narottama finally arrived in Vrindavan, he came upon the Govinda Dev Mandir. Seeing Rupa Goswami's magnificent temple structure drove him mad, and his body exhibited 8 symptoms of ecstasy, such as intense weeping, horripilation, and change in color. Naturally, Jiva Goswami was quickly informed of this new sadhu's arrival and could understand that he was the long-awaited Narottama. Sri Jiva hurriedly walked to the Govinda Dev temple, and when he saw Narottama, he was immediately reminded of Mahaprabhu. Just then, many great Vaishnav Mohants arrived, asking, "Where is Narottama? Where is Narottama?" And with great love, all the devotees pointed to the young saint who was sprawled across the temple courtyard in a trance-like state. This indeed is young Narottama. One thing is this, there's a song, I think it was written by Narottama Das Thakura. We sing it. We sing it at the time of the departure of Vaishnavas. Yayanila prema dana karuna pracho. I don't remember the rest, but it's probably in our songbook somewhere, or at least the songs of the Vaishnavacharyas. But this song was written, I think, by Narottama Das Thakura, because he's describing just what we're just reading here. he was after a great endeavor to meet all these different uh, uh, saintly persons that he heard about and idolized for many years, and Lord Chaitanya, who he really wanted to meet, he finally got to Vrindavan, and he's realizing that they'd all gone. They weren't there anymore. They were not physically present anymore. So he was feeling very heavy lamentation at their that they've already left. He so much wanted to meet them and be with them and learn from them like that. And there's some other point I forgot here. Okay, we'll go on. I'll read a little bit more if we can. We will not be able to finish this chapter. It's a long chapter. Narottama's initiation. As Narottama met Vrindavan's most advanced devotees, he was particularly impressed by Lokanath Goswami, whose exceptional sense of humility and austerity was noted by all Vaishnavas. Lokanath was very kind to Narottama and arranged for a portion of the temple's sacred vegetable food offering, prasadam, for him to eat. Since Mahaprabhu had revealed to Lokanath the night before in a dream that Narottama would arrive the next day, Lokanath had made preparations so that they could eat together. And during that meal, Narottama told Lokanath his entire story. After relating the major incidents of his life, he concluded by saying, "Actually, I have no right to sit here with you and take this pure food. I do not even have a guru." Hearing this, Lokanath Goswami laughed heartily, reminding him, "You have received the direct grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the original guru, the guru of the universe. Besides him, who else do you want for a teacher? He has given you divine love, the same love that most devotees hanker for throughout their entire lifetime. You possess that love. What is the value of having another guru?" Narottama replied, "My Prabhu, I am a poor man, bereft of all good qualities. Your order is my life and soul, but if you will permit me, I would like to say a few more words on the subject." Lokanath then assured him that he could speak freely. It is, quote, "It is true that Mahaprabhu is the only real guru," Narottama agreed, "but he simultaneously has faith in you to be my guru, and has asked me to take initiation from you. The guru guides the disciple in practical spiritual life. I have no spiritual insight, and I am feeling separation from the Lord. For this reason, I beg for your mercy." Lokanath laughed at his future disciple's insistence. He countered Narottama by saying, "The scriptures recommend that the prospective disciple chant the holy names of Krishna in a regulated way for at least a year and develop an attachment for the holy name within his heart." So this was practiced back that time too. A year, at least. Lokanath, out of humility, had vowed never to accept any disciples. And particularly now that Sanatana and Rupa had passed away, he was grieving their loss. So Narottama was clearly given a rough time of it. Nonetheless, chanting was not a foreign activity to Narottama, and so complying with Lokanath Goswami's orders, he chanted japa for a full year in Vrindavan. During this time, Narottama listened to Lokanath's discourses on a regular basis. Out of humility, he ate only the remnants of Lokanath's food, and then he cleansed the area and performed various menial services. A year passed in this way, and Lokanath was still disinclined to give initiation to his worthy disciple. Narottama was totally devoted to Lokanath, and he used to arrive secretly every day after Lokanath's dwelling, every day near Lokanath's dwelling late at night to clean the area where Lokanath had evacuated. Once Lokanath hid in the bushes and discovered that it was Narottama who was cleaning up after him. Nonetheless, Lokanath remained true to his vow and did not initiate Narottama. After another year of Narottama's selfless service, Lokanath had a sacred dream. Mahaprabhu appeared to Lokanath and chastised him for not initiating Narottama. Did I not tell you to initiate him? Mahaprabhu insisted. Do not continue in this false humility. Lokanath now knew that he had to initiate Narottama. Soon after this incident, Narottama again approached Lokanath for initiation. This time, Narottama offered a very pleasing argument. I am like a young woman who has already chosen her husband. Narottama said, my heart is clear, without any doubt. A young woman who makes up her mind in this way prays that her father will agree with her choice. Narottama concludes, I pray that our Father in heaven agrees with my choice. Lokanath was moved by Narottama's sincerity and said, your fierce determination has exceeded my own, but you are the only disciple I will ever make. For the remainder of his life, he adhered to this vow. Lokanath initiated Narottama according to the guidelines of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, giving him the confidential Radha Krishna mantra and the Gayatri mantra as well. So first and second initiation at the same time. In addition, Lokanath revealed Narottama's ontological manjari form as Vilas Manjari, or as he sometimes called Champak Manjari, and explained his service in the spiritual world. Generally, the Guru does not reveal such esoteric subjects so early in the disciple's devotional life, but Narottama was clearly an exception in every way. Lokanath concluded the initiation by asking Narottama to take shelter of Jiva Goswami for further instruction. So the Guru can, when the disciple is ready, the Guru, the qualified Guru, will reveal to them what their eternal relationship is with the Lord. And even before that, the Guru can, when the disciple is ready, not necessarily on the level of pure love of Krishna, but fairly elevated, Guru could say, okay, now you meditate on this kind of position as a gopi or as a coward boy or as something, and will instruct the disciple to perform. This is a part of Raganuga sadhana bhakti. So you'll instruct the disciple how to meditate on being in that position and following in the footsteps of maybe if it's a gopi, then ultimately Radharani or Alita or Vishaka who are serving Radharani. Meditating on serving under them, and then if their position, if their inclination, and this is actually something the Guru might ask a qualified disciple, what are you inclined for? Because apparently our eternal relationship may not be completely fixed, because we have some choice in the matter what I've read. Anyway, that's just to point out that's out of Nectar Devotion. Maybe I'll read one more section here. Boiling the milk. As the days passed into weeks and then months, Narottama grew in spiritual accomplishment, as did his reputation throughout Vrindavan. One night, a divine Vaishnavi appeared to him in a dream and said, "Dedicate yourself to the feet of your guru and do whatever he asks. Your sincerity and austerity have pleased me, and I will see that you are engaged in a very confidential service. When I meet Krishna every afternoon in the Kunja, I see that the Sakis are serving him with the utmost care." Sakis means the friends of Radharani. So, and Kunja means like Kunja Bihari, the bushes, and so on in Vrindavan. Yeah. I see that the Sakis are serving him with the utmost care. They make a special milk-based preparation for him, and Champa Kalika is the most efficient gopi in this service. You shall work under her direction, boiling the milk, and remember that I become happy if Krishna is happy. When Narottama awoke, he quickly ran to Lokanath Goswami's hut and conveyed the entire dream. Lokanath embraced Narottama, confirming that the Vaishnavi was indeed Radhika, Krishna's consort. Lokanath was pleased to hear that Narottama was given a special service, boiling milk, by Radharani herself. Lokanath understood that this was his disciple's eternal service to Krishna, and that Radhika was merely reinstating him in that service. After being given this unique chore by Radharani and having it confirmed by his guru, Narottama would sometimes go into elaborate meditative trances, visualizing himself boiling milk for Radhika and the gopis, while in his Manjari form. Often in this visualized Siddha Deha, or perfected form, he found it useful to use dry wood for the fire, which kept the milk boiling. So this is his meditation, using dry wood to keep the milk, for the fire to keep the milk boiling. On occasion, however, the milk would overflow. Whenever this happened, Narottama would try to stop the overflowing milk with his bare hands. During his intense meditations, he'd often neglect the fact that his hands were scorched. But when his reverie subsided, he saw that the scorched hands in his mystical vision had accompanied him back to the world of three dimensions. Sometimes he tried to cover his marked hands with a piece of cloth, but all of Vrindavan knew the transcendental way in which he had received the burns. Okay, should read one more section, and we open up for questions or comments. Jiva Goswami, complying with the order of Lokanath, Narottama submitted himself to the feet of Sri Jiva Goswami, asking the Goswami to accept him as a student. In response, Jiva Goswami took hold of his hands and immediately requested him to tell the story of how they had become so badly burned. Narottama then told his master the recurring events of his inner meditation. As Sri Jiva listened, he felt great satisfaction and spiritual ecstasy. He confirmed that Narottama was indeed Vilas Manjari, and Narottama said, Yes, Radhika herself has addressed me in this way. Hearing this with boundless glee, Jiva Goswami embraced Narottama, saying, "You are the manifestation of Mahaprabhu's love, and with this love you will flood the entire universe." It was during this period that Narottama met Srinivas, who came to Vrindavan to study under Sri Jiva, and the two of them became dear friends. They were known as Jiva Goswami's best students, and along with Dukhi Krishnadas Shamananda, they excelled in all of their studies. Consequently, Jiva Goswami bestowed distinguished titles upon them: Narottama Das Thakur Mahashoy, Srinivas Acharya Prabhu, and Shamananda. And he gave them special mission of distributing the Bhakti Rasa scriptures throughout Greater Bengal and Orissa. The details of this episode are retold in the previous chapter concerning the life of Srinivas Acharya. Well, that was the previous chapter, but he didn't read that. I think I can't take any much more time reading right now. Are there any questions or comments? Speak to them.
Well, I didn't realize Narottama was like a director during the act. I thought it was maybe 50, 60 years or so. Right as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left, he was born. And I didn't know he was Lokshana Dasa. I didn't mention that because I read Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
No, Lokanath. Lokanath Goswami.
Which one was his guru?
Lokanath Goswami.
Okay.
But yeah, he appeared in this world just at or just around the time that Lord Chaitanya left, and Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, who were older. Jiva Goswami was younger, and he remained around. He remained longer in this world.
Yeah, it really brought that to life as a directly actor. And that also was interesting that he went to Chaitanya told him to go to his guru to go to Vrindavan to uncover the holy places, but he couldn't really find his guru anyway.
Yeah. So and then, but with Sanatana and Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, who also were given that instruction. Between them, they managed. They say excavated. That doesn't necessarily mean excavated, as we but it's they found them, and it took. I don't know how they found them. Great research and of course spiritual insight, no doubt. But they found those so many different places where Krishna performed their pastimes. And of course, these are all liberated souls, which means they were actually eternally or with Krishna in the spiritual world, and I'm sure that was a big part of their finding these sites. And if you speak, you actually take the microphone and speak into it. It'll come up with the recording.
At the beginning, when you were reading, it was mentioned that Narottama was a Sudra sannyasi. Why?
Yeah, as I said. I don't know.
And when he said that to us, I heard that. I never heard that before.
Very beginning.
I actually don't know. Sorry, I don't. Well, Narottama was He was born making a royal family. So I don't. Unless it was. It said the parents were. What was the word? Kayas. Um, the parents were. I think there's. I have to research that one. Um,
What verse is that?
it says Shudra Guru of many Brahmanas. Well, I don't know for sure. I have to. I'll see if I can find out something. I'll bring it up the next time we have a class.
Guru.
Yeah. Yeah, it says Guru. It didn't say sannyasi. Shudra Guru. Well, I suspect it's because the maybe the family, it says their family was he said that his father was a king, right? But they also mentioned um, I don't know. Let me try to find out. I can't. I'm a little stumped on this question, but I'm sure there's an answer. But research it a little bit.
One quick question too, that Sita Pranali, like initiation. I know by the time Bhakti even knows who was on the planet, it was like completely, Sahaja, like people,
Yes.
difficulties and stuff. Now I know we don't really do that anymore. Did it stop more or less with Bhakti even knows, or Bhakti Siddhanta kind of say that?
I mean, what they call Siddha Pranal, I think, right? It still exists. I mean, it still works. But the problem is, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, uh, during his time, for the most part, those who were doing this were those who were giving the instruction were not qualified, and those who were receiving the instruction never did anything with it. And just say, okay, you can meditate on being a gopi, or you can meditate on this, or meditating on that. But it wasn't being, they weren't doing anything with it. So it was just um, not encouraged anymore. And Sri Siddhanta was not encouraging it. But if with one gets to the point, maybe the level of Baba or so, uh, then they become qualified to do like that. If you read in the Harinam Chintamani, which is a very nice book, also written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's basically, um, it's basically it's a discussion between Lord Chaitanya and Haridas Thakur, and Haridas Thakur is going one by one, the whole chapter on each of the offenses. And at the end of that, Lord Chaitanya asked him, okay, now after that, what happens? So he said, if you can you stop committing these offenses, then you, and it mentioned this Siddha Pranali system, but it means it's a very advanced stage when you can actually do that. If someone just joins the movement and Guru says, okay, you're from now on you can meditate on being a cowherd boy in Vrindavan, and then maybe the disciple was not qualified, maybe they'll even stay in and can't follow the principles, and so there's a certain point of spontaneous devotion before that kind of information is given. And then once it is given, the disciple is supposed to be really, really dedicate and commit to meditating daily, hours every day on being in that form, and doing that kind of service until they completely come to the point of pure love of Krishna. Or, that's what's the one method, or we can just chant Hare Krishna and dedicate our life in devotional service, and at some point, we will become Krishna conscious. If not before, at least at the time of ending this body, if we've dedicated everything in the Lord's service, then we can become fully Krishna conscious and go back to Godhead and experience love of God at that point. But the idea of the Siddha Pranali method or the Raghunath Raganuga sadhana bhakti. The idea is if you do that, then you may come to that perfectional state sooner, but you have to be qualified to even start that. So that's what it is. Okay, it is getting late, so let's finish for today, and tomorrow we'll plan on tomorrow's Sunday, so Chaitanya Charitamrita, and then back to Srimad Bhagavatam next week. I'm sorry. Yeah, tomorrow's Srimad Bhagavatam. That's the next. Yeah, tomorrow's Srimad Bhagavatam, and the next day Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's right. And then after that, back to Srimad Bhagavatam again. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Narottama Das Thakura.